Yes, bonsoir on South Africa tonight from the sports desk. It's day 2 of the Rugby World Cup Sevens in Cape Town. The Boks women's team will contest a 13th place playoff against China tomorrow after ensuring they won't get the wooden spoon in their draw. The men's team are in the quarterfinal action against Ireland tonight. eNCA's Justin Ford is around the Cape Town stadium, as is eNCA Sports Editor Vata Ngobeni. We go to Justin first. Good evening, Mr. Ford. The Blitzboks will get plenty of home support, but is it fair to say New Zealand can expect plenty of love from the fans there as well?
Yeah, good evening, Arthur. I think before we get to the men's side of the draw, to really focus and hone in on that, I would think very clinical performance by the Springbok women's side, beating Colombia 27-0. Nadine Roos, what an absolute superstar she was, scoring 4 tries, and the fact that she was able to carve open that Colombian defense was a fantastic moment. But we watched that game, again, just her showing that experience, being part of the Springbok women's 15 team, coming into the sevens fold. She really just showed sort of what experience and playing often enough will mean for the Blitzboks, or at least the Springbok women's team.
Yeah, I think Justin, what Paul Delport was able to get right probably is bringing in some of those 15 players. And Nadine Roos has proven, without a shadow of a doubt, she carries this team. And again, the privilege of having to play in 2 World Cups, because she'll be part of the 15 team going to New Zealand to play in that World Cup as well. And she's done a fantastic job. I think in that game, she was undoubtedly the star of the show, and I think they need to find synergies again between 15s and 7s, and we've seen it the men's as well. They've been able to do that. A lot of the Curtly Aronses, the Cheslin Colbys come from 7s and they're playing 15s. Assistant coach Mzande's take the same. So again, I think South African rugby are now finding their way when it comes to that, and I'm glad actually that someone like Nadine Roos that we've seen with the women's rugby, that they're now trying to replicate that. She's just a superstar, and as I said, she's carried this team, and long may that last, because they will need it tomorrow. They'll definitely need it.
I think what was important for me as well, and a good takeout, was that support. I think those ladies would have absolutely loved that moment. I don't want to say capacity crowd, because we know that this tournament is long as 3 days. People get over the restless, need to eat, need to quench their thirst. So a lot of people would have not been in their seats at that moment, but a good moment for those ladies to be able to experience that, win, being cheered on, for every little try that they scored as well. And I say little, and I say very lightly, but they were strong, and I think that only bodes well moving forward. They obviously play tomorrow again, and that's exciting enough. Moving over to the men's draw, the quarterfinals, we set to see that quarterfinal matches later. The likes of New Zealand, Argentina, Samoa, Fiji, South Africa, Ireland, some big name teams in that top 4s. How do you see that sort of playing out, looking ahead at those matches later on?
As you spoke, Justin, earlier on, I think a team like Fiji, they showed how good they are yesterday. New Zealand showed how good they are. Samoa getting one over England, I don't want to say it was a big shock, but you'd expect a team like England to be able to get the better of them, because Samoa are a very erratic team. But then they've come to play here. Ireland have come to play here. So outside of New Zealand and Fiji, everyone thinks South Africa, but then South Africa now need to get over Ireland later on. And I would say to you, if the Blitzboks are able to beat Ireland, then South Africa, New Zealand, semi-final, Fiji, Samoa, Argentina, somewhere there. So those are the teams, and for me that is now what the likely champions, world champions. So it's going to be a big night, a big evening going forward, and to those teams, don't take your position lightly, because this tournament is proving once again to be a proper lottery and Russian roulette. So whoever is able to again perform at their best throughout the full match, they will see themselves in the semis tomorrow.
I like that. The strength of this competition really just has grown over the years. The format itself has allowed for the lesser known teams to come through. I was watching Canada up against Wales earlier. The Canadians doing particularly well. Even Chile beating Scotland in one of the sort of other sections of the competition, and that just shows the strength of the competition and the sport itself. We have to obviously touch on, you know, the gears and the vibe. Yes, the weather has, I don't want to say hasn't played its part, but it's a bit cooler in Cape Town today. It's September, it's understandable. It's not the Cape Town Sevens, December summer sunshine that we've experienced, but it hasn't stopped people from coming through, dressing up, having fun, and really enjoying this proper jaw, like we called it.
Yeah, Justin, they don't call it the biggest party in the world for nothing. We've seen really the fans, South Africans, have really come out. We've seen rugby legends here, the likes of Brian Abana, Brian Driscoll, Victor Bogo, so many of the legends of the 15s game, but also the legends of the Sevens game, you know, come from around the world. The world is descending on Cape Town because this is the premium event of Sevens rugby. You know, a World Cup. It comes once every 4 years. But I think what's also important, Justin, is the fact that the fans, as you said earlier on, were able to watch Mbokodo play. And the support that our women's rugby is getting is incredible. We had the Kujo squad here earlier on. Again, the changing face and voice of South African rugby. We're seeing a lot more integrated crowds coming to rugby. And it's really wonderful to have this. But I think what's important, Justin, as much as we talk about what's happening around, what's happening on the pitch, we've got to talk about what's happening on the pitch, because if you don't get it right on the field, you know, we won't be able to get the support. The weather, yes, has been, you know, playing games with us, musical chairs, but Cape Town weather, that's what's going to happen. But the fans have come out. They've embraced what's happening with the weather, stage 4 load shedding. But more important, Justin, is those teams have got to perform in the field. Because we will keep on having these crowds, and come 2 months' time when the Sevens comes back to Cape Town again, this will remain the premium Sevens event in the world.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think a very big point is how we need to ensure that the teams continue to do well, and that way we'll guarantee the fact that there will be support for those teams. Well, there we have it, Arthur. You know, a fantastic time continues here at the Cape Town Stadium as we gear up for what we can call probably the business end of the competition, with the men's quarterfinals as well as the women's quarterfinals happening a bit later on.
All right, thank you very much, Justin and Vata. I swear the passionate fans are out there. Definitely want to be a part of the eNCA production. It definitely must be as well that the atmosphere at the Rugby World Cup Sevens is amazing. And that's where we leave things from the sports desk. Gareth, how amazing was that? Everyone's lit in Cape Town. It's the biggest party ever, as many are calling it right now. Gareth.
I just want to see Vata or Justin steal that man's hat. I don't know what hat he was wearing, standing behind Vata and Justin. Welcome to live television. Everybody wants to be there. It's a good party down in Cape Town. Thanks, Arthur. Lovely action coming out of Cape Town. Vata and Justin, steal that man's hat for the next crossing when we talk to you a little bit later. Arthur Bonnicow, thank you very much indeed. All right, coming up in just